First one with the free. I agree. I had a lot of fun there too, like grinding my way through Inferno and stuff. It was really fun, you know, because no one really got to the end. I mean, there's kind of like a roadblock with the bosses, you know, you have to kill Butcher before the end rage. You have to kill Belial before the end rage, you know, it was super hard to do because he didn't have the DPS. That was actually really cool stuff. Because people were like, you know, not steamrolling through the content. And it was like kind of like a slow progression, you know, like get through this and then be so happy when you finally beat it. And go to the next act and that stuff. So that was really cool stuff, especially in hardcore. Basically, like when the free vanilla released, it felt much more like WoW vanilla, you know, in the sense that you had to like slow progress your way through, and you know, it's like the same in WoW vanilla, right? Where, well, the end game is not even that diverse and that much, right? There's like a few dungeons they grind, there's a few raids, and then there's not really, you know, there's PvP and stuff. So I mean, you do have things to do, and there's stuff to grind and all that stuff, but in the end, for example, WoW Classic, it was much more about the leveling journey, right? Getting to 60, which took me like, you know, weeks to do. And I feel D3 Vanilla was very reminiscent of the same thing, where, you know, you don't do anything at endgame necessarily, but getting there was like the, you know, the journey. That was the exciting part. And you're like fighting your way through like a full zone of like some crazy Act 2 map or Act 3 map, you know, that's like super dangerous, super hard to do. And then, you know, you're really happy for each single checkpoint that you reach, right? Just like running through the map or like, you know, fighting your way through the map. And there was no revive at corpse and that stuff, right? So every time you died, you had to revive a checkpoint again. So you can't just, you know, corpse run your way there. Or at least it wasn't really that easy to do, and you know, I guess not many people try to do that or something like that. So, and then there was like one of the act bosses that you had to defeat at some point, and you couldn't without enough DPS and without, you know, using the right skills and whatever. I remember progressing through Act 3 Inferno hardcore on my Demon Hunter with in the keeps, and there were like these explodey dudes. Like I was able to survive like roughly one hit of like most small enemies. You know, like some archer shooting me or something. I was able to survive one shot. But then what the explodey dudes, you remember? The fallen lunatics in Act 3 keeps around every single corner. Oh boy. That was some scary shit. I remember like going through keeps and, you know, going around every single corner one by one, shooting, having my Keltros ready, full discipline to slow them. Oh man, that was good shit. Or like Act 2, man, when I was going through Act 2 and there were these invisible snakes and they would just come out and like almost one-shot you. I remember how I was like, you know, carefully trying to evade every single snake. You know, it was kind of like a minefield in Act 2 with snakes being invisible everywhere. But that was good shit, man, I loved it. Because it was really like, you know, you were really careful about it. I remember in hardcore, I went through from level 0 to Inferno hardcore Diablo dead. I went in 25 hours. So it took me like, I don't know how long was leveling, 1 to 60. A few hours. Normal difficulty. And then I rushed through, like I had to go for like the free difficulty side, and then like hell you were like level 60 at some point. Yeah, so that was not a bad thing. And then like Inferno difficulty, I remember I had an entire set pre-buff with I think it was 0.3 more to student region or something. Yeah, I found a storm shield when I was playing hardcore very early in the game's release cycle. So I went through softcore, I killed Diablo, and then I went straight for hardcore. And I found a storm shield from a goblin that we were farming. And then my character died, but I had a storm shield in my stash. And my character died because I was invited to an Act 2 goblin and the guy didn't fully clear everything around it. And I teleported in, and as I teleported in I was one-shot by Painmonger. So I left the game basically for a while and came back like a month later, and I had a storm shield lying on my hardcore stash. And I checked the auction house and there was not a single storm shield on the auction house. There was nothing. I had the only storm shield available for sale. So I put it up for 20 million gold or something. and I sold it. The 20 million was like fuck ton back then. And I geared my entire Demon Hunter because no one would be insane enough to play a fucking Demon Hunter on hardcore. Everyone was playing a fucking Bard or a Witch Doctor because they had Spirit Wrestle. Yeah, so I geared my entire Demon Hunter with 4-piece Natalia, with insane weapon, with everything. Yeah, and then I was like, okay, now we're gonna do this. So I leveled to 60 and equipped everything, and I just blasted through Act 1 Inferno. It took me like, I don't know, 50 minutes or something, Act 1 Inferno, and then, I don't know, I was like, at that point, like 8 hours in or something. Yeah, and then I went, you know, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, boom, 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 one by one, but, you know, slowly, with strategy. But it was a super smooth run until the very end. Until Izual. Actually, until Diablo. So I made my way to Diablo after, you know, avoiding all the snakes in Act 2, after avoiding all the explodey dudes in the keeps in Act 3, after every soul dasher that might have one-shot me, after fucking subjugators. In fact, I went into softcore and tried to make a character that has similar toughness to my hardcore character back then. So I had my softcore Demon Hunter, and I like tried various things to kind of like, you know, see and understand what kills me. Well, it turns out that every single monster in Act 4 one-shots me. So I had to avoid literally every single hit. Even on my super well-geared, you know, super decked out Demon Hunter that I had. And there was no awareness passive to save me. So that was amazing. I walked, like, I made my character on softcore, and I walked into Gardens of Hope level 1, start of Act 4. And the subjugator just jumped at me from the edge of the screen and one-shot me with like 50% overkill over my health or something. That was great. And I was like, alright, that's gonna be fun. So I went there, and then I went for hardcore, and I managed to get to Diablo, like super smooth. Act 4 was a fucking breeze. I don't know why. I mean, there was Rakanov and stuff, scary bosses, but I did it. And then I was like, huh, Diablo is scary. He might kill me. So let's get the Stuff of Hurting recipe first. Or something, or the Stuff of Hurting. Yeah, so basically I found the Stuff of Hurting at that point, because I didn't want to lose the Stuff of Hurting for some reason. Yeah, the problem was I didn't have this checkpoint at Diablo anymore when I finished that. So I had to go all the way through Silver Spire level 1 and Silver Spire level 2 again, and kill Izual again, and then go to Diablo. And on my way there, a fucking oppressor managed to hit me once, and I survived. I had 1% HP. Oppressor insta-charged me from off-screen, and I had 1% HP and I survived. Oh boy, that was the only time I got hit in the entirety of Act 3 and Act 4.
Okay, seriously, how do you remember all these things?
How do I remember all these things?
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
What do you mean? I was blasting. Anyway. Yeah, that was great times, man. But I killed Diablo. It was super smooth. Yeah, so I killed Diablo on Inferno hardcore. It was great. I mean, the boss fights were long and, you know, scary, and you have to dodge every single thing, but man, it was amazing. I had like, yeah, this was like some of my fondest gaming memories, I'd say. The release of the D3. And I don't know, this was like so... That was really sad, because I was going to do it also pre-nerf. Like, you know, when Crypt did it, this was like the last day before the nerf or something, right? Before they changed some stuff and, you know, made it more streamlined and a bit easier and stuff. So I did it after the first round of nerfs. But before I died on my hardcore Demon Hunter, there was still pre-nerf times. This was, you know, like a few weeks after release or something, where no one had done hardcore Inferno. And I was actually also going for it. I was not going for world first or something. I didn't even know that was a thing. I was just blasting. So I didn't know Twitch. I didn't know anything. So I was just like on my Demon Hunter. But yeah, I died on this fucking Painmonger as I TP'd in. Like, basically the way it worked, you found this. Yeah, first of all, there was this Act 1 goblin in Old Tristram. There was a little basement of one of these. Like in New Tristan, there's a little basement in a house where a goblin could spawn. So this is what you were farming early on, and once you made your way to Act 2, there was a goblin in Alcanos Waypoint. But you had to clear the mobs around, so that's obviously taking like a few minutes, and then you invite your 4 friends, or your 3 friends, and you would kill the goblin together, because alone you had no chance to kill the goblin, basically. And even as a team of 4, he escaped sometimes. So goblins are really hard to kill. So I had the bard that rage slips the goblin into the corner, then he had a witch doctor that summons a fetish army to block him in the corner, and then he was smacking him until he might escape or not. Yeah, I had to do all the buffs, marked for death, voodoo, we had a wizard blasting in there or something. You don't play anything else.
I always fished for that.
Don't have to remember much.
Yes.
Easy. Good old
Who
times.
was your friend?
Well, there's gonna be a lot of great memories in Diablo 4, I'm sure. What bonuses did the set items have back in vanilla? Yeah, the Natalia set had 2-piece bonus was 7% crit chance. 3-piece bonus, I don't know, I think it was some stats. And then the 4-piece bonus was the discipline regeneration. But the funny part is, on the set, it showed increases discipline regeneration by 0. So no one wanted Natalia pieces, because the tooltip was wrong. And the tooltip just was rounded down to 0, even though it actually gave you, I think, 0.32 discipline regen per second. Which was over a 30% increase over the base regen. That was nuts. And it fucking carried. Trust me.